Young Justice was a series about the Justice League younglings who took over the responsibility of protecting Earth after the resignation of most Justice League members. It mostly included teenage superheroes who were just starting to learn their powers, and some who already learned how to control their abilities, but were still not masters to the required level. Today we shall look at these particular amateurs who later turned into worthy heroes, and we are going to discuss what powers they had in the show. And later we are going to see the people behind the voices and how old they are today in 2024. Let's start with Artemis Croc, who was a master archer, and was the former sidekick of Green Arrow. During her early years in the show, she was a ruthless fighter who always wanted to solve problems with brutal force. She was brought up in a tough family, so her personality was that of a tough guy. She loved proving her worth to the team and always wanted to be one of the greatest hero of her generation. Her ability was perfectly using her bow and arrow to make precise and swift targets to the villains, and also mastered how to use a sword later on. She was voiced by Stephanie Lemelin, who is an American actress and a screenwriter who also voiced Eep in the Croods show, and is now 45 years old. Caldurum, who is better known as Aqualad, was the former sidekick of Aquaman. He was the son of the villain called Black Manta, but was either way trusted by Aquaman to be the first leader of his team. And when Aquaman retired, Aqualad took over the role of ruling the Atlantis, and also became the leader of the Young Justice. He was a very calm person and very clear-headed. He could think things through and formulate plans before taking any actions, and this was why he was chosen by the rest as their leader. Even as a teenager, he was so respectful to everyone, especially his master Aquaman. His abilities included hydrokinesis. He could also generate electricity like an eel. He had enhanced durability during fights. His body was resistant to toxin substances, and just like his master, he could also breathe underwater. This leader was voiced by the famous Khary Payton, who is an American actor best recognized for voicing most of Cyborg characters in the DC universe. Wally West, also known as Kid Flash, was the nephew and sidekick of the Flash. This boy was considered to be the clown in the group, and was always hyperactive every day every time. He was responsible for pranks and jokes, and was always in the mix of problems because he loved recklessness, which inevitably put him and the others in mortal danger. He loved ladies, and was always slipping some flirtatious remarks towards any attractive woman in his vicinity. And even with all of his goofiness, he was also a science genius just like Barry Allen, and was the brains in the team. The only superhuman ability he had was super speed, which he also used to heal himself faster after battles. He was voiced by Jason Spizak, who is an American actor and a computer programmer. Superboy was not Superman's son or his sidekick, and was just his clone made by Lex Luthor. He was initially made to be Superman's challenge, but everything changed when he joined the Young Justice and met Miss Martian, who both got engaged. He was known to have anger issues and was somehow rebellious to people who always told him what to do and what not to do. He was so confident because he knew that he had Superman's genes in his body, and this made him jump into dangerous situations which even he could not work out on his own. And since most of his life was in a lab, he did not know how to interact with others, making him so introverted. Some of his abilities included super strength. He couldn't fly, but he could jump like the Hulk. He was also invulnerable just like Superman, and could also hear things from very far. It was Nolan North who voiced him, and is an American actor who was born in 1970 and has been active since the 90s. Dick Grayson, or the Nightwing, was initially the sidekick of Batman, and was one of the founding members of the Young Justice. He was more experienced in battles than the rest of his crew, and was a tactical thinker when it came to plans. He was also very pragmatic and preferred to think 5 steps ahead of his oppositions. He was actually the initial leader of the group but stepped down after Wally West's sudden death, and later left the group to become a solo vigilante just like Batman. He was voiced by Jesse McCartney, who is an American actor and singer, and is mostly known for his music when he was in the Dream Street Band from 2000 to 2002. Miss Martian, or better known as Megan Morse, was the niece and the sidekick of Martian Manhunter. When she first arrived on Earth from her planet home, She was seen to be so bubbly and curious of everything. She was so sweet and polite to everyone she met. But after seeing how cruel and dangerous Earth is, she started becoming more serious in helping the team fight danger and master all her telepathic powers. She was voiced by the beautiful Danica McKellar, who is an American actress and also a mathematics writer, known best for playing Winnie Cooper in The Wonder Years. Beast Boy, whose real name was Garfield Logan, was the founding leader of the team and also a former member of the Doom Patrol. As a young teenage boy, he was so hyper and energetic and always wanted to become a hero just like the Justice League. He also loved collecting souvenirs from every mission he featured in, as a reminder of his heroic works. His ability was shape-shifting to any animals he could think about. He was voiced by the iconic Gregory Sipis, who is an American actor, also recognized for his awesome voice of Michelangelo in the TMNT series. Martian Manhunter, who was also known as John Jones, was one of the founding members of the Justice League and the uncle to Miss Martian. He was so serious in the show and acted as the voice of reason for the team. He spoke with a lot of politeness and respect to others and never experienced any signs of anger or ego. He was seen to be so caring and protective to his niece and always visited her to see how she was coping with her new life. The legendary Kevin Michael Richardson voiced him, who is a professional voice actor that is known for his distinctively deep voice. Halo was a gifted individual created as a result of the fusion of a deceased Quasi girl with the spirit of a mother box. She initially worked privately with Nightwing before being introduced to the Young Justice team. She behaved in a childlike manner because her memory was wiped clean, meaning she became more timid and meek to everything. She remembered how to speak in English, but mostly used sign language and gestures to effectively communicate with everyone in the group. She was voiced by Zara Fazal, who is an American voice actress, and can also be heard in Voltron Legendary Defender as the voice of Nadia Razavi. The Caped Crusader, the Knight in the Dark, Prince of Gotham, the billionaire vigilante, or just Batman, better known as Bruce Wayne, was the founding member of the Justice League and the master of Nightwing. After resigning from the Justice League, he later became the overseer of the Young Justice and was seen advising them on what to do, which missions to take, and pinpointing villains' locations using his advanced tech. Bruce never smiled throughout the show and was always level-headed in nearly every situation. He was voiced by another Bruce called Bruce Greenwood, who is a Canadian actor and producer that has been in the business for 40 years now. Terra, best known as Terra Markov, was a Markovian princess who initially belonged to the crooks called the League of Shadows but later changed her ways and joined the Young Justice. She was seen to be a short and slender teenager with blonde hair and brown eyes. She was the daughter to King Victor Markov and Ilona Markov. And after joining the team, Terra has never gone back to reclaim her seat as the next ruler of Markovia. Terra, who was coincidentally voiced by another woman named Tara Strong, a Canadian-American actress who is a legend in the voicing field. The Red Tornado was a member of the Justice League, who was initially placed to be the handler and protector of the Young Justice. As a robot, he came out as a heartless machine and never showed emotions. He followed instructions by the book and was always on the lookout for impending danger. Even so, he always allowed the teenage heroes to make their own decisions and could only interfere when they were in trouble. He was voiced by Jeff Bennett, an American iconic voice actor who is very well remembered for voicing Johnny Bravo. Bart Allen was a speedster from the year 2056, who came back in time to join the Young Justice, and was actually the grandson of Barry Allen. Just like Wally West, he was so hyperactive and very talkative. Although, it was revealed that he was actually serious and jaded, and was acting hyper in order for him to be accepted by the team. The future was so messed up, so he came back in time to help the team in fixing his timeline. He was voiced by Jason Marsden, who is an American actor and producer, and I remember him as the voice of Kovu in Lion King 2. The Arsenal, best known as Roy Harper, was the former sidekick of Green Arrow. His original name was Speedy and was abducted by Lex Luthor, made into a clone, and was sent to infiltrate the Justice League. The original Roy Harper remained cryogenically frozen for 8 years before being found by the others. And other than the team, he also owned his own security company called the Bowhunter Security. He was voiced by Crispin Freeman, who is an American voice actor and director, and as the years go by, he is also adapting to screenwriting roles. The Amazonian warrior known famously as Wonder Woman was initially the member of the All-Star Squadron but later joined Batman in forming the Justice League. She was the mentor of a lady called Wonder Girl who we shall look at later. She was so powerful and commanding, and was also very serious and outspoken in her views. Her abilities included flight, super strength, and also owned the lasso of truth which she used in interrogating her ops. Voiced by Margaret Quigley, who is an American actress who is professionally known as Maggie Q in all of her platforms, and is now 45 years old. Static, whose real name was Virgil Hawkins, was a teenager from Dakota who was first a member of the Reach before later joining the Young Justice. He was an African-American boy with black dreads and always wore his cap in a backwards fashion. Voiced by Brighton James, who is an American theater and television actor who is best known for his role as Richie Crawford in the CBS sitcom Family Matters. Zatanna was a magician who was initially a member of the Young Justice, and then joined the Justice League later on. She was seen taking the role of Dr. Fate in some episodes, and was a magic teacher to 3 of her students. In her early years, she was seen to be so rebellious to rules. But in her more mature years she became more tolerable and compassionate towards others. She was voiced by the famous Lacey Chabert, who is an American actress that also took some roles in Spider-Man the animated series. Aquaman, whose real name was Orin, was the King of Atlantis, the founding member of the Justice League, and the former mentor of Aqualad. His abilities included superhuman strength, enhanced durability, could swim at insane speeds, could breathe underwater, and also had the psychic power of marine telepathy. A king voiced by the wonderful Phil Lamar, an American actor that we initially discussed in a previous episode where he voiced Samurai Jack in the series. Victor Stone, who is popularly known as Cyborg, was a former star pupil and a star athlete from Detroit who was involved in a lab explosion accident that left him with fatal injuries, and his father, who was a lab scientist, made the decision to save his life by using a father box to fuse with his remaining organs to make him the cyborg that we know today. He started as a Young Justice member and was later called to join the Justice League. Before being Cyborg, he was seen to be so lively and professional in his career, but after the explosion, he became more silent and lonesome, and only hanged out with the others when there was a mission. He was voiced by Zeno Robinson, who is an American voice actor that has done so many roles. An example like voicing Go in the Pokemon animated series. And finally, we have Wonder Girl, whose real name was Cassandra Sandsmark, who was a sidekick to Wonder Woman and the member of the Young Justice. She was a very tough young girl who was so energetic and carefree. She preferred fighting villains who were bigger and stronger than her, and always went on missions hoping to find trouble. She never cared about plans and tactics, and preferred going head-on with her oppositions. Her abilities were like that of Wonder Woman, flight, super strength, and enhanced durability, and it was the amazing Mae Whitman that voiced her, a woman who I know best for the voice of Katara in The Last Airbender. Thank you for watching today's episode, and I hope to see you in the next one.